Welcome again, everybody, to Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Tom, WA9TDD, and my faithful cohort here is...
Yes, your faithful companion is Quinn, K8QS, and we are on a journey today, Tom, to bring to our dedicated audience of brilliant ham radio operators 10 goofy ham radio practices. Goofy, you know, Goofy was goofy.
Yeah.
And so here's goofy ham radio practice number 1. I love this, Tom. Creating impenetrable band condition reports that are of no help. Impenetrable. Yeah, can't understand them. What the heck kind of band report is this? I'm going to pick on the ARRL right now because I'm a member of the ARRL. I encourage people to be a member. It's not that I'm anti-ARRL, but I'm just talking about this goofiness. So here from the latest newsletter, weekly newsletter from the ARRL, it says the solar report, solar activity remains at low levels due primarily to C-class flares just beyond the SE limb near S21. The largest was a C5.3 flare on February 25. On the visible disk, an approximate 5-degree filament eruption was observed, centered near SO8W27, with an associated C2.6 flare. Now, that's just the beginning. I don't want any of that stuff. I want something like this. Last week, 10 meters was crap. This coming week, it might be a little bit better. Good luck. Listen to the band, period.
Right. Get on and listen. You can't produce a weather report that's accurate within more than 48 hours. So how could you possibly have a solar flux prediction a week in advance? Not happening. Okay. Goofy practice number 2 is communicating like your message, your conversations are private. You know, especially when you're talking about health, talking about arguing about how many polyps you had on your last colonoscopy, okay? Your job problems, They cut back my hours. I'm only working 30 hours a week, Your idiot neighbors.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Every time I get on, they're pounding on the floor because I'm interrupting their TV. It's crazy.
Like
everything you say is not a private conversation. I'm telling you, folks. You've got SWLs out there and other hams.
It's not private, so don't talk about your lumbago or whatever. All right, here's goofy ham radio practice number 3. Waiting around for radio to happen rather than doing radio. If the band you want to get on right now is dead, go to a different band. If you can't make a contact on sideband, go to a digital mode. You can contact somebody on a digital mode anytime, even when the band is rotten, and you don't need much of an antenna. You can throw up a piece of wire over the curtain, and that's it. There are always things to do with ham radio, and you can even go to GMRS. Oh boy, that makes me sound like a heretic. Or do some SWLing one night, or maybe even, Tom, I still do this, AM radio DXing. See how far away you can listen for AM radio stations at night. So there's always radio, lots of radio. Ham Radio Perspectives is pro radio in all of its forms. There's always radio to do. Don't wait around like a doofus on your butt.
Right. And goofy practice number 4 goes along with that, Quinn, is like pretending that ham radio is the only kind of civilian radio. Us ham radios are the godsend of radio practice. You had mentioned SWLing, GMRS, AMDXing. There's more to it than just ham radio, guys. So get off your pedestal and listen.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So is ham radio the center of the person-to-person radio world? I don't know anymore. GMRS is really coming on strong. CB is still going, although there's a lot of nuttiness out there too. So let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Goofy ham radio practice number 5. You get on a repeater and you're telling the repeater audience, this big repeater audience out there on 2 meters, that you are listening. This is K8QS, listening on 146.720. Nothing comes back. 10 minutes later, some other guy says, this is so-and-so listening. Nobody comes back. You know, Tom, that's one way of kerchunking the repeater to see if it's working, by saying that we're listening. But the fact of the matter is, there are probably so many repeaters, especially 2-meter repeaters out there now, that don't have any business. We just ought to, dare I say, close them down. So actually somebody responds when you say you're listening.
Right. It used to not be that way, but it is now. The repeaters are pretty much dead, except for the Tuesday night net at 7:30. So, goofy practice number 6 is boasting about the fact that your 2-kilowatt amp is roaring when you don't even need the amp. You just enjoy the sound of that fan noise in the background to prove your manhood and your amateur radio excellence.
That's it. That's it. I'm convinced of that, Tom. There's something about power and men and amplifiers. And some of these guys I hear, especially on 75 meters and on 40 meter sideband, the amp noise from their fans is 20 over 9. Okay. And then when they talk, it's only 5 dB above the 20 over. So, and you hear this, and when there's QSB, it's great because it's wishing in and out. That fan coming in and out. It's such a great thing. Turn the amps off, guys. 90% of the time, you don't need them. You can be a real man, I think, Tom, without a 2-kilowatt amplifier. Okay, so here is Goofy Ham Radio practice number 7, listening to 7.200, 7200 we like to call it. Why? In order to get all riled up, to get upset about the decline of the hobby. You'll listen to the guys for 2 hours or 3 hours and we get upset. And then we go up the band or down the band and we talk to our buddies and say, did you hear what's going up on 7200 or down on 7200? I'll tell you, ham radio's going down the tubes. It's just terrible. Those guys are ruining the hobby, and on and on and on and on and on. Hey, if you don't like a particular TV show, a news channel, don't watch it. If you don't like what the dingbats are doing on 7200, don't listen. Don't give them any attention. Don't talk to them. Just ignore it. If you're entertained by that stuff and you want to listen and you don't get all riled up, fine. Who cares? It's not a big deal, gang.
Okay. Goofy practice number 8 is telling your contacts what's on their own QRZ page and then telling them what yours is on. You know, and
that's great, Tom. Let's play it out.
I do this myself. You get a contact, you go to their QRZ piece. Oh, I see you're into Harleys. You know, I used to have a BMW R73. Blah 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 blah. And you scroll down and hey, that's a great sunset. Where's that located at? I love your vacation in Cancun. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you hear so much of nothingness on a conversation that it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah.
Okay. Without going through 20 minutes of blah 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 blah. You already know who this guy is, and you already know what touch points to hit to engage him in a useful conversation.
And they know that. When you see a photo of something like their antenna on QRZ, talk about the antenna. Don't just go down their QRZ page and mention everything that's on their page. They know that. The funniest thing for me, Tom, is when you look up somebody's QRZ page and it's all out of whack. You know, the main photo is backwards, and then down below there are photos that are not in the proper order. The layout is goofy or something, or there are all kinds of misspellings. Gee, you feel badly for the guy, and you just want to say, hey, by the way, I noticed a couple of typos on your QRZ page. You might want to take a look at that. But of course, nobody will do it. All right. So here we go. Goofy Ham Radio practice number 9. Calling CQ on sideband for a total of 6 seconds. It's like this. CQ, 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 CQ. This is K8, CQ, 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 and then you stop. You don't say over, you don't say listening, you don't say anything else. You just throw out this short CQ, and of course, anybody tuning across the band hears a little bit of CQ, but there's not enough time for them to tune you in, and then they don't know if you're done sending CQ because you didn't say over or listening or something. So it's rather peculiar. I don't know where this practice came from, Tom, but I do run across these short QSOs or CQs, and they're the funniest when it's on 10 meters and the QSB is really bad. So you just hear a little CQ, oh, gone, CQ, gone, K, gone.
And segue into that is goofy practice number 10. It's calling CQ on sideband for 3 minutes without Vox during rapid QSB. You catch the CQ, this is K, 8, you're spending 3 minutes trying to decipher, A, he's calling CQ, I got that, but what's his call sign? Because the QSB is fluttering in and out so much, in that case, you need a rapid CQ with your call sign.
Yeah. So normally, gang, figure somewhere between 6 seconds and 3 minutes. Maybe give it 20 seconds, 25 seconds or something of CQ, and then listen. And if you have Vox to use in between in case somebody hears you, but the QSB meant that they thought you were done calling CQ and they're already calling you, you can hear them. We can do this and avoid the follies of the 6 second or the 3 minute QSOs. You have been listening to and watching, for good or for bad, Ham Radio Perspectives, one of the great ham radio YouTube channels where we, with all love, make fun of ham radio, one of the goofiest hobbies ever. Lots of fun, gang. If you're not a ham radio operator yet and you just heard this, send us a quick email. We'll help you get going, get the license, get on, and you can be goofy too, like we all are. This is K8QS. My name is Quinn.
And this is Tom, WA9TDD 73.